Feeling cute, might skeet later, I don't know.
And welcome back to another session of 0 Point Reviews with Jeff and Kev. This time we're jumping into the 1994 John Carpenter movie, In the Mouth of Madness, starring Sam Neill. All right, Kevin, this is both of our first time watches for this one. So clearly I can't ask you if you've seen it in the theater, if you rented it before, but we both got the Blu-ray from online. Thank you, Amazon. And you're showing the thing. Wrong movie. That's next week, bro.
At least it wasn't like Care Bears or one of my kids' movies, some shit like that.
Yeah, I think I actually have an older version of that. I think you got the newer one from Scream Factory. I mean, yeah, mine's the old Warner Brothers release.
Oh yes, it is. And this copy worked.
Yeah, mine worked all right, but there's probably there's not much for extra features on this. There's just the commentary and a theatrical trailer. So I did not get to check out any behind the scenes things, but first time viewing for me. Overall, I thought it was pretty damn good. What'd you think?
Gosh. Well, I didn't get to look at any of the special features that Scream did, and they did the commentaries that you were talking about, and then locations. This completely took me off guard. After watching Piss of Darkness, I was like, okay, we'll do this again. This movie didn't get a whole lot of traction in 94.
No.
And I can't say I don't know why, having watched it. This film is insane. And I mean that with a big smile. Like everything that Prince of Darkness wanted to be, this film was. And I was super there for it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, this is fresh off of Sam Neill being in Jurassic Park the year before in 1993. So why that didn't carry even just a little bit of oomph is beyond me. It's also a New Line feature. So they had like the money and the marketing of like Warner Brothers New Line behind it. But to be frank with you, I do not remember this movie even being remotely marketed. And I would have checked something like this out in high school. Because this would have been like, hey, I could probably find my way into one of these movie theaters. I just buy a ticket to something else and slip on over to the right one.
I want to say I remember seeing the marquee for it when my girlfriend and I were going to the movie theater. But I didn't, it wasn't there when I was working there at all. And I only saw maybe like bits and pieces of it on cable as somebody would be flipping through the channels.
Yeah, I think I've seen bits and pieces like that before, but I never knew it was this movie. And I've never seen a trailer. I've heard of this for years. This has been in my collection for a very long time, full disclosure. And I finally just popped the shrink wrap off of that just to watch this movie the other day. And I'm like, all right, I'm finally going to sit down and watch this. And like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, there's a couple issues I have with the movie overall. Like, for the most part, I say no movie is perfect. There's a handful of them that are pretty damn close, or they are perfect. For John Carpenter, the only thing I kind of felt with this movie was missing a little bit of some humor to it. Like, there was no like levity or lightness to it. It was pretty straightforward, and he was really going for some fantastical sci-fi, psychological, and some horror, which is kind of a departure from, we just got off of Prince of Darkness, and before that, and then you go back through his pantheon of movies, and I know some of them are pretty serious, but they always have like a fun moment in it. You can even go back to Halloween, and there's like lighter moments in there that make everybody relatable. In this one, everybody seems just straight up like a bit of a dick. And it's kind of hard to root for anybody, but Sam Neill is so freaking good in this. He makes you feel for him regardless of some of his character flaws.
That he does. Hold on, let me have that. It was the way you put that. Yes, John Trent is an incredible dick.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those funny moments, but you're also kind of like, why did he have a horn in his in his car?
Well, you could say he was feeling a little horny.
Honk honk. No, there was really only 2 funny moments in it for me, and that was another one of them, or that was the first one, and the second one was at the end where he just loses his shit and freaks out.
Dude, that was freaking dope. I found that entirely funny, and you misspelled favorite.
God damn it, I did it again.
Favorti. That's a new segment on our show now.
And I also misspelled reviews, as Lynn pointed out this morning. So, yeah, dyslexia got me twice this week, kids. No one caught Bill shit last week.
Something to watch out for on 0.Point.
Kevin's typos.
Screw-ups, we might do a little giveaway.
He's a fucking idiot.
Well, welcome to 0.Point Reviews. What do you expect from us?
Yeah, what do you expect for free? Damn it.
We're professionals.
I also type really fast and don't look backwards.
I know, quality control, everybody. It's part of my job.
I know. But anyway, yeah, that part where Trent loses his shit on the bus, that caught me a little off guard, where he freaked out, and his mannerisms were like really cute in a way as far as being terrified.
Yeah.
But the people around him freaking out, like there was an old lady on the opposite side of the bus. It's like just completely weirded out. That made me giggle.
Almost made you wonder if they told like Sam, just wait for the right time to do it. We're just going to say roll, and just whenever you're ready to do it. Like if it takes like an extra 10, 15 seconds, everybody's just supposed to sit there anyway. You know, whatever it takes for you to get that. We just want that one reaction. So throw it out there whenever. It's like when they let Hans Gruber fall from the building and they're doing the countdown and they let him go on one, and you got this real look of fear from Alan Ruckman on that one.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, he only dropped like a few feet. I mean,
yeah, but if you're not expecting it.
Yeah. That's how they got the priceless reaction. I almost wonder if they did something similar with this, because it looked way too perfect.
William Friedkin did that to Father Karras in The Exorcist.
That's right. You mentioned that before when we covered that.
Yeah, blew off a shotgun where they couldn't see, and it scared the bejesus out of them. Like, ah!
God damn it.
But it worked. Or tying Ellen Bernstein to a Jeep.
Oh, yeah. Then there's that.
Anyway, I don't know any guerrilla tactics that were done in this, but given their response, I would say you're probably right. Like, because for extras, they all looked like they shit their pants pretty well.
Yeah. Especially since he just went full bore into that character with that. And there was multiple times he went all the way in. I'm not trying to cut to the end, but basically it's our little back screen here where, you know, Trent walks into the movie theater with popcorn and starts watching his movie unfold all over again, and you get like little highlights, and he's just sitting there eating popcorn and he's laughing, and then he starts to cry as he realizes, oh my God, what happened to me here?
Yeah. What happened to me? What am I? What's gonna happen to me?
Yeah.
And that's a great question for the viewer after the fact. Like, is it just going to start all over again for the next person reading the book? Like, it's fascinating. And one of the things that we talked about, or that it talks about in this, is giving power to the old ones via belief. That's one of the points that they tried making in Piss of Darkness, where they were talking about belief making things. Like, things don't materialize until they're believed in.
Correct.
And they lost that in Prince of Darkness, but it remained a constant here. Reality was everything in this, and it was explained better and conveyed better and felt much better watching the movie.
Yeah, I definitely felt like this was a more strongly written movie. Now I know John didn't like straight up write this one by himself. I know he had some like say in it, but it was largely written, the core story was written by somebody else. And it definitely had like fingerprints of, hey, we love Stephen King, we love Clive Barker. They even mentioned Stephen King several times during the whole thing. And I've recently played Alan Wake, and so I'm seeing a lot of similarities between like, hey, I'm writing this and it's becoming real, and I'm a character this and I'm that, and it just, there's a nice little balance between everything with this movie. It really worked for me, and I really enjoyed that. But I I got a kick out of this movie, and I'm down to rewatch this again. So,
Yeah. My wife is like, you don't have to buy every movie you guys review. I'm like, no, I don't have to. Sometimes it's a gamble, but this one, now that I've seen it, I would have bought it anyway. I'm like,
yeah.
it is that good. The other two, it's for completionist's sake. Well, no, not Escape from New York. Prince of Darkness. I'd always wanted to see it, so I'm not sorry I got it. Wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be or could have been, but we only had to wait 7 days to find something that was. And you asked me last week what I thought about the score. Last week's movie, or last week's score was forgettable. This week was a lot more rockin', a lot more singular, and it was a lot more like Vampires score.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this one in particular, and I felt like John was getting his feet back under him with like, hey, I got you guys. I know what you want from one of my scores, and he delivered. It's an outstanding score. I'd totally go and get a CD or whatever I could get for it. Digital download. Don't mind. I don't mind paying. Get the man his money. Just saying.
He's got to earn those video game points somehow.
Oh, he's got to keep buying video games. We need to get that man some RoboCop action going on right now.
I tell you what, man, that the VR game Pistol Whip that I have, one of the guns is RoboCop's gun. I call it the Dick Blaster.
That's good.
And it is satisfying as fuck, especially when you take it in like the Old West. You're like, I'm the god. I'm the god.
Well, there's a little bit of that in this movie with what was the name? Sutter Kane, the actual author that had gone missing and created the town, and then thus the book, and then how he unfolded with the rest of the movie with it being part of the apocalyptic trilogy. But like, that was totally cool to see him. And if anybody recognized him, he's also the big bad in a few other movies. He's also in Beer Fest. He's also in
That's right.
Beverly Hills Cop Part 2. He's the main bad guy in that one. Love Beverly Hills Cop Part 2. We will do Beverly Hills Cop at some point in the future next year, so stay tuned for that. But I love seeing him. Just the hairstyle for him just kind of threw me, and you threw up the Neil Gaiman look. And I'm like, wow, that actually is well done, sir. Bravo. Bravo.
Some jokes really write themselves, and that was one.
Yeah, you didn't have to do much on that one. Just put Neil up there. We love you, Neil. We're just saying. Flattery, it's the serious form of flattery is imitation.
It is like because at that time Neil Gaiman dressed the same way and his hairstyle was the very same. So I was like, I caught you sons of bitches. Thought we wouldn't remember, but we did.
It almost feels like this movie was a bit of a love letter to like Neil, Stephen King, Clive Barker, because like I know I mentioned it before, but this was feeling like a little bit of like Rawhead, taking what was good out of Rawhead Rex, Nightbreed, but also giving it more of a upscale look. And I don't know if we're going to get into it, but I'll say it, like the K&B guys did all the practical and special effects on this. Maybe not all the visual CGI stuff, which was very minimal, but the practical stuff was brilliant. Loved it.
Yes, this picture here really reminded me of the young child Babette from you just said it, Nightbreed.
Yeah.
Just not evil by Babette was not evil. This chick was, but the makeup, like almost goblin-like, feline to goblin-like, was very similar. And it was so cool, so airy looking. And this very much felt like Nicotero's signatures. His hands were on this.
Right. Yeah, I saw their name in the credits when the movie first started. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun for me. How many creatures are we gonna get? And surprisingly, there's quite a bit of practical creature effects going on. And at times when I didn't think we were gonna see some, I would see it, and it wasn't like a jump scare for me. I was like, oh, hey, that's really cool. I really like that. Good play with the camera angles, and then switching to, oh, she's hugging him. Oh, he's got a different face on the back of his skull.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yes, let's.
Here we go. H, what the fuck, V? What kind of STI can you get from this? Because like she kissed everybody, and then she's sitting there massaging this thing's face, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's the spot right there. The temples.
Little asphyxiation too while you're at it. Choke me out, bitch.
Pull the belt. The other hands are for the reach around. All right, there we go.
And that's only if you can find the ass.
That was beautiful work, though. It really was. Kidding aside, like the only thing that I would have changed about this scene is the blocking there. And I did kind of think about that because there was no clear shot of this thing's face. It goes from the hand in front of the face to her hands on the face.
Agreed.
So it's like, oh, I kind of wanted to show everybody how cool that was, but there wasn't a clear enough shot of it.
You know, they might have wanted to, but it might have depended on how it was like mounted and other things that were going on to make all the animatronics work that were going on. So, you know, it might have been just a product of its limitation. That was one of the things I struggled with the movie. Was there were times like that. I'm like, could you get a better shot? Could you give us a little more detail? I'd like to see a bit better scope going on. You could use a wider lens, you know, just things like that. That's just being nitpicky. That's just what we do as like film fans. Like, hey, I would have liked this. I would have liked that. We didn't need so much of this. We needed more of that. I mean, nothing really struck me as like being totally off with the movie.
Mm-mm.
But I enjoyed it. I mean, I really liked the loop, especially when Sam Neill was trying to escape. And every time he'd get to the bridge, he'd be right back on the street with everybody else. I loved the slow breakdown. And finally, I'm saying to myself, dude, just drive through the... Oh, he's driving through them. All right, there we go.
And then he wrecks because he doesn't want to hit Styles. And it's like...
Run the bitch over?
Kinda. Get the fuck out. She made her choice. Go. Like, Viacone, bye-bye.
Yep, but they didn't want him leaving until he had the manuscript, and then he couldn't get rid of the damn thing.
Yes, but this girl was obviously fucking crazy. She swallowed a set of fucking car keys. Barking swallowed a set of fucking car keys.
Hey, don't choke on it, baby. Don't choke on it.
Didn't do that in summer stock.
This time I went to literary camp and
the swallowing the keys part was super cool because it's like, yes, that's showing her commitment to sparkle motion, but it was also very gross at the same time because it's like, all right, how many things just got cut?
Nobody can handle a set of keys like that lady could.
Right? She did kiss just about everybody she came across in this fucking movie. Like, I think the only person probably not was Charlton Heston because he wasn't in it long enough. But who knows?
Well, you bring up Charlton Heston, and there was quite a few fun cameos in this movie, from Charlton to David Warner as Dr. Wren, to John Glover as what did I write his name down as? Semperstein, the main doctor at the asylum. He had short hair. Yep, that's him.
Yes.
Our favorite devil from Brimstone. John, we love you. This was a great role for you. Wish you had more in it, though. Felt like some of the cameos were literally just, hey, let's just give him about 5 to 7 minutes and keep the movie going.
I didn't put the pictures on there because I didn't want to take away from this shot, because this is a very special shot with these two actors together.
Loved seeing them together. I'd love to know what John thought of working with like David Warner specifically.
This was not the first time they've worked together.
No, I know, but like at this point,
what I wanted to put over them was a picture of Ra's al Ghul standing next to the Riddler, because I think
man.
think that's so goddamn cool. And them being on screen together was fantastic. He did not share any screen time with Sam Neill, and a careful eye saw that. Like, they were editing like Raymond Burr and Godzilla.
Yeah,
but it's okay. They did a pretty good job as far as like not being obvious about it.
Right. I'm a big sucker for John Glover, so I'll always wish he was more in everything he's done. Even freaking RoboCop 2. He's just this sales guy, and he's only in it for literally like 45 seconds.
But he's amazing in everything he does, and he's a joy on Twitter. He really is.
Yeah, he's great. Everybody will go check out John Glover on Twitter. He's outstanding. And he likes to answer questions, especially if you got questions about like Smallville or any of his other roles that he's done. He's very much into his stage play acting. So please do check out John Glover on Twitter.
Indeed.
Or X, Twix, whatever you call it.
Twix.
I call it Twix. I'm sorry.
The left nut or the right nut? I don't know. But as he was talking to him in the padded cell, this face here, this was so sincere. Like he was so attentive to something, or saying, oh yeah, that's the case. Shit's going to get real. Just wait.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was so like when you finally got to the end of the movie and he was in his cell and just having a casual conversation about like, yeah, so this is everything that's happened. We're all screwed and I'm so much safer and happier. I'm good in here. I'm good. I don't need to get out now. I'm sorry I kicked the guy in the dick. It's okay. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to, but I'm here. I'm good. And then all hell breaks loose.
Well, that's kind of the funny thing, because he, like you said, he's charged with taking the book to the public.
Yeah.
And basically he is the harbinger of the old ones. And so you have to ask, did he bring them there? Did he open the door? Is he the old ones? Like, there's a lot of questions to it that could be fun.
Is he the forbidden door, or is he the key master?
Is he
the gatekeeper? Oh my God, it's Ghostbusters.
Funny you should say that.
Yep. Yes, Vigo, my lord.
Was so happy to see Vilm in this. Like, he's just awesome. And he had speaking roles that weren't dubbed like in Die Hard. He actually had decent lines, good acting ability, and then blew his head off. It was nice.
C'est la vie.
With a big hole taken out of his cheek.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
What was it? His daughter bit a hole out of him.
Oh, that was wild. There's some wild moments in this movie that you are maybe not expecting, because this, I would say, this is probably one of the lesser known of Carpenter's movies, largely because it's somewhere in the middle of just like the 90s.
Yeah, and right in the middle too. Like, Extreme was just beginning. Things were starting to ramp up. Horror films were dying.
Yeah, they were struggling. Yeah.
Like 92, 91 was probably the last really good year for a while for horror films, as far as your big franchises.
Yeah, you get gems. Otherwise, it's just the main star franchises like Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. I mean, you get to New Nightmare and you'd be like, well, that's not exactly what I want. And then, of course, Scream is right around the corner. And then you get a different set of horror movies for the next 10 years.
Not good. Like the PG-13 era of horror films in the 90s, very much not good. I know there was a couple that you liked. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or was it Urban Legend?
I like the first Urban Legend. And I do like I Know What You Did Last Summer for obvious reasons. I like Jennifer Love Hewitt, but
May I just say, speaking of boobies,
really, movies on a 0-Point review. Interesting.
movies. No, I said boobies. Boobies. They
Boobs.
had some in this movie, but it wasn't what you were thinking. Happy Gilmore's grandmother sprouted boobs with dog mouths and started hacking up her husband and eating him.
I think somebody was watching a little too much hentai during that era.
It looked like The Thing. It was really cool. Like it was very much animatronic, and they didn't show it like as a whole for very long, but they did show it. So it wasn't like bits and pieces, or you have to make up the rest of it in your imagination. It showed it, and it showed her hacking away on her husband.
Right.
And damn, was it cool. Weird.
Yeah.
Cheap, yes, obviously fake, but it was
weird.
Cool.
Weird.
Well, see, because she starts out as basically like, Happy's grandmother. And once the evil starts corrupting everybody, she hacks up her husband.
Who was handcuffed to her ankle. Yep.
How do we know they're not into that sort of shit?
Hey, just saying. Hey, I wouldn't have been surprised if there were some wax candles down there already lit and he had some burns on them and some other marks. No kink shaming here.
No, I just feel bad for the Brazilian.
That'll leave a red mark.
No kidding.
Yikes.
Oh, goodness. Did we talk about the crazy ass painting?
No, we did not. That kept changing like almost every time we saw it.
Yeah, this thing here. This is something that's kind of out of nightmares. I mean, this isn't scary right here, but a natural nightmare for people is seeing something turn and move or change or look at you, for fuck's sake. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
But I love this here. This is the most that looks like Cthulhu, I think, that you really get to see.
Dude, I'd put that up on my wall.
Yeah, because that really was actually kind of cool. Yeah. There's a good shot of all the old ones, and I wasn't expecting that. This is fairly clear when it's moving. Like it's hard to tell what's what because they're all crammed together.
Right.
But as they're moving, it's very clear. It's not moving too fast. It's all practical effects. You see Cthulhu there up towards in the middle up top. There's like green and then little tiny tentacles coming out of the mouth. That's the best that you really see of like the most famous of his old god creatures.
Yeah, I would say so. But like just having all of that on screen, even in general, was a testament to, hey, there's some work that was put into a lot of these creatures, and only like on a more better definition quality transfer could you even probably see that. Like with mine, I saw it okay, but I'm willing to bet like when you were watching it on your setup that you got a better detail out of that than I did.
Well, I got this guy.
There you go.
He is absolutely beautiful. I don't know which one he is, but
he looks like a mishmash from Big Trouble in Little China, the creature. Yeah.
He was really pretty, very wet, very savage looking, hungry. I liked it. They did a really good job with all the practical effects. Like nothing looked cheap except for Grandma Gilmore.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to save a few bucks, just save it from Grandma.
Penny pinching.
She'll get run over by a reindeer in a few weeks anyway, so.
Right. And there's that other 0 Point.
You're welcome.
This here, though, one of the things that you were talking about for me that didn't work or that could have been done scarier was this warning. Any who dare enter this unholy site be damned forever. It would look cooler if it didn't look like it was on this like tabernacle type black church
out in the middle of podunk nowhere,
surrounded by traffic lights or street lights with parking lot. Yeah. So anyway, some of it didn't make sense, but it was still pretty.
Exactly what I would have said about that too is like beautiful church out in the middle of freaking nowhere with streetlights. Like, how does that work? I don't even see a remote car there, and it's apparently locked up and nobody can get in, but Sutter Kane is in there locked away, keeping an eye on the place. He's a housekeeper?
Yes.
Or house sitter?
Tending.
No, church sitter.
Church sitter. What was it last week? The guardian priest?
Yep, the guardian priest.
I think of warrior monks when I think of that. But anyway, that'll be another derailment. I don't know. Like, Kane was cool. He had all the dogs. So, I mean, he was definitely feeding them. But, the warning sign would have been better in, like, hieroglyphics. At least, like, it's scarier when it's a mummy type deal. Or the
should have said something like, abandon all hope, all ye who enter here. Or something like that.
Something. Well, I mean, this isn't the Catholics, but I don't know much about H.P. Lovecraft, and I feel bad because I should, loving horror as much as I do, and I meant to get into it in college, and I'm like 20 years too late, but this is really interesting, really fun, and I want to see more of what this was, more of the corruption, seething nightmares and shit. So much to it.
I would have enjoyed seeing like a follow-up to this. I mean, I know his Apocalypse trilogy is like, The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and this movie, but at the same time, it's like, if there was any of them outside of The Thing, this is one that would warrant more of a follow-up just to see how bad the world is off so many years later, if anybody's even still around. I mean, I don't know how much of a good movie you could really get out of that kind of a concept. Everything's like end of the world these days anyways. We've had that since basically The Walking Dead started up like how many years ago? Like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we've had the influx of end of the world type stuff. So I don't know how well it would work now, but it's perfectly fine on its own. It ends itself nice and neat. So it doesn't feel like, oh, they left on a cliffhanger. Why is Jeff saying he wants a follow-up? Well, it's more of just to see, did the darkness really take to the world like they wanted you to believe? Because with at least Prince of Darkness, it felt like, oh shit, bitch is out and she's possessed. All hell's about to fucking break loose. At least with this, you got a little bit of a glimpse of, oh shit, the world is kind of over. We got a Night of the Comet situation, except at the end of the movie instead of at the beginning of the movie.
True. And again, I'm very curious if this doesn't just keep looping for John, I mean.
That's a very good point. I should probably think more along those lines than that. It's just a continuous cycle going on.
It could be, or to your point, for me, one of the things that I would have changed in this, and I'm sure everyone will say no, is this movie could have been longer. And
you could have added 10 more minutes. I think that would have been probably appropriate.
Then I think a follow-up, as you were saying, should have been that extra part where, the Ouroboros are corrupting and seething everything, and just see how that affects the world. Because each monster has its different place, different area, and different method of suffering. That would be dope to see. But we only had like an hour and 40 minutes here. And you can't say it didn't get good. But once that third act hit, it went fast, and that was my only problem with it.
Yeah, I felt like it did feel like that third act kicked the gas pedal and went to like from 55 up to, hey, speed limit's now 75. Let's go 85.
But it keeps going for like 15 minutes.
Right, it's good and it doesn't relent. And I do appreciate the fact that they did get to the ending without feeling like they cut something too short. It just felt like you could have added more to it to spread that out just a little bit better. And I think it would have helped the movie very well stick the landing even better. But I felt like they stuck the landing just right enough to where you could walk away from this movie going, I think I need to watch that again. Pick up on things I wasn't catching before. Because this movie does, I think it would lend itself very well to repeat viewings, as opposed to, say, like Prince of Darkness, which the movie's really not designed for repeated viewings, except like, for some people it might be, but for most, it's like, I can watch it once and I'll check it out every few years thereafter. This is the kind of movie I kind of want to watch again and pick up things I wasn't getting before. Like there's a lot of layers and subtlety to this movie that Carpenter can do very well when he's got a really good script for him.
Yeah, and Carpenter's such a normal guy that he writes normal characters super duper well. Like, he's not a pretentious director. I don't think he ever has been. I just zero-pointed myself there because he's such a nice guy. I was also going to say, it also helps that this is more interesting because the monster's not just a stream of piss.
Green piss.
Green piss on the ceiling.
Secret of the Ooze. Put some turtles in it and make it lame and gay.
Yeah, right. Ironically, though, we didn't get David Warner in that one, but we did get him for this one.
Yeah.
So the TGRI guy. Kids at home are going, huh? Anyway, because we have children listeners and viewers.
Really?
Maybe. Like, my kids probably go past it once or twice. Like, it's Dad and Uncle Jeff. Fuck it. Where's my ASMR shit?
Give me some popcorn, Dad. You guys are acting goofy.
Yeah. If my family ever watched what we do, they'd probably be like, why? Do we know them? Mm-mm.
No, they don't know us. No.
Not publicly. No.
Nope. We don't acknowledge that. They crazy.
My friend Brandon's dad was everything I wanted to be when I grew up. And I try to be him a lot. Like the most joking, practical prank person that you could ever think of. He was the best. I'm like, I want to be just like you, Jesse. I did. I'm almost there. I'm just not as nice of a guy as he was.
Okay.
Nor do I play guitar, but there's our 0 point for the evening.
Well, they say it's only just begun, Kevin.
Anyway, it's only just begun. That is another apocalypse type eeriness to the Carpenters. Like, Karen was a bad motherfucker, and they get nothing but put in like eerie horror films.
This is very true.
Like, I love 1408, but that
I know. Just reminded me of when we covered that one too.
Like, I could watch Karen play the drums all day long and just be like, get rid of your brother and the rest of the band. They suck. No, it's like, what was it? Anger Management, where Jack was talking about all their songs were about madness.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I think it was the Carpenters. It was something sissy-ish like that.
Okay.
I say sissy-ish, but sissy-ish.
Sisyphus.
But I didn't make any Sif pictures this week, I promise. Oh, god damn it. You just made me think of Sisyphus rolling the ball up the hill. Anyway, let's talk about In the Mouth of Madness again, H.P. Lovecraft. Did you ever read any of that in school?
I read some of it. I do like Lovecraft. I I want to get more into it. Eventually I'll get around to it, but like House of Usher or Fall of the House of Usher is a show that's recently now on Netflix. I'm kind of curious to check that out, see where that is as an adaptation. But you know, it's like when I see this movie, the first thing that pops in my mind is when Guillermo del Toro said he was going to do the Mountains of Madness, and then it was going to be like Tom Cruise was going to be in that one, and it was going to be like this big Lovecraftian horror movie, but he wanted too much money, and it's like, well, I got this, so I'll accept this for now. I don't think that movie's ever going to get made. But
was it Tom Cruise that wanted too much money, or Del Toro?
Del Toro.
Yeah, I can see that, but he's
very ambitious. So when we cover Guillermo, it's like, you know, he likes his movies, but like for certain things, like Hellboy 3, he wanted a lot of money. That didn't happen. You know, he was going to do, if I remember right, he was going to do a BioShock movie. That didn't happen. Too much money.
That would have been cool.
He was going to do Halo. Again, too much money. He was doing The Hobbit, and I don't remember what happened, but he walked away from the Hobbit movies, and Jackson had to take back over. And, you know, he's just got a thing about certain projects. He wants a certain dollar figure so he can get it just the way he likes. Can't say I blame him for that. Like, if you can't make it the way you want it, then don't do it. But he likes doing a lot of different projects. But I like Carpenter and what he did with In the Mouth of Madness, which is a little Lovecraftian-ish. And it's just a really good story. And I thought Carpenter really got to accentuate his strengths, and he did very well with this movie. It's just too bad, like, he's a few more years and he doesn't really direct the best flicks after that. So this is kind of towards the end of the great Carpenter run.
I would call this not a crescendo. Well, yeah, maybe a crescendo. This is probably the most horrific movie that I've seen him do. Even more so than Vampires. I mean, Vampires is, yes, by nature a monster movie, but this had more to it. It felt like there was more mystery, more excitement. This was a great movie from him. This was him, I think, having the money that he's wanted to do, things that he couldn't have done before, make things as scary as he wanted to make them. Can I say this is his best film? No, I can't. That's probably Big Trouble in Little China, or up to anybody else's percent.
It's a subjective thing. It depends on what you like out of your Carpenter movies. You could go through like his whole filmography. Some people will say They Live. Some people will be like Christine. Some people will say like Halloween, like me. And, you know, you could just go down the list. I love Big Trouble Little China. Love The Thing. Love They Live. Like, the fact is, the guy does know how to make a really good movie. And I gotta say, this is another great one for me. I cannot believe I took so long to finally get around to actually watching this movie.
Yeah. And what the fun thing is like, there's movies that I'd really wanted to see for a long time. And then when I saw them, they sucked butt.
Yeah.
Prince of Darkness didn't suck. It just wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. People Under the Stairs sucked. The Last House on the Left kind of sucks.
I've not seen that one.
It's just
that's Wes Craven, right?
Yeah, it was his first movie, and it's just torture porn. It's not all that great. The Hills Have Eyes was pretty good, the original.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think The Thing, and I'll probably say it again next week. The Thing is not only his scariest movie, but a contender for one of the scariest movies of all time. It has a very natural fear and terror to it.
Yeah, one of the best remakes ever made.
The one time people didn't bitch.
I know.
Wait. Let's see what he does.
See, you know, we talk about The Thing and Carpenter and where he's at. Like, I say, give the man the keys to the Dead Space movie and let him go fucking crazy. Give him a blank check, and like, if he wants to, I think he could pull off a great fucking movie. And that's a franchise if I remember right, he does like as well. And I would be down for that, because I think he could pull another great movie out of himself if he wants. He doesn't have to, but I think I would love that personally, because I think he could do great with that. He does know what he's doing. And my only complaints about like his later career stuff after like Vampires is mostly like, just seems like he didn't really want to do it anymore. Kind of went through the motions. I know he did some great like episodes for like Tales of Horror. He did like a cigarette episode. I'm trying to remember the actual name, but it was really good. And so he could still do it if he wants to. But if he just wants to score things, hey, keep doing the scoring thing. Works for me too.
Yeah. I mean, you get to a certain point where you're just kind of like, I don't like dealing with bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's ultimately why he's like, that's it, I'm out.
Yeah, because studios, we all know how studios are. Studios now are way worse than they were back then, but they were not fucking easy to work with by any means, even then.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that clearly in Ghost of Mars. It's like, I don't think he got the movie he wanted out of this. I know I'm invoking the name of Ice Cube in that regard, but there it is.
Like Ghosts of Mars and Are We There Yet are just two titles that go right together. It's so perfect.
Ghosts of Mars, are we there yet?
Yeah, right? No, stop, or I'm turning this spaceship around.
And we're going to go straight for Hobbs End, yo. I'm going to leave you right there in the middle of that. Try that, Ice Cube.
Oh, hey, where is that? I have a really neat picture of it here. Hobbs End is this make-believe place in New
Hampshire.
Yeah, that's very much like Castle Rock. Another nod to King. And all of Sutter Kane's books, the titles are in the same font as the Stephen King books were back then.
Yeah.
So like that's just awesome.
But yeah, the detail work was great. And when Sam was cutting out the little shapes and piecing together in the map, I'm like, that's actually a really neat idea. I like that. And so I really appreciated the detail and the execution on that end.
Yeah. And it wasn't silly. Like there were the line out marks there where you could see. Oh yeah,
is that a puzzle piece? Yeah, like he was sitting there, like looking at all the books, like, hey, wait a second.
Well, there were a couple moments, and that was one of them where once he started reading the book and fell asleep, I was like, oh, okay, is this like Freddy's Nightmares, where it's like,
right?
He falls asleep reading the book, and then the rest is going to be hysteria and nightmare.
And then he wakes up at the end, and then he realizes he's still asleep. Then he wakes up again. Then he's not asleep, but he really was. And then he's going to wake up again. Oh, now I'm awake, and everybody's fucking dead. Oh, God.
Yeah. And then it turns out that it's all real, and the world's coming to an end, and you're right there with him at the end, feeling bad.
Yeah.
Like how do you feel at the end of this movie? Because like, yeah, I laugh because he was laughing, but then you know that everything's ending, and then he is mad at this point. He's completely fucking bonkers.
Yep.
It was like when Loki told Deadpool that he was a comic book character, and
he did not.
He did. It snapped Wade's mind, but it also empowered him to do whatever the fuck he wanted because he knew it was just a comic book.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I haven't read those. I'm just teasing anyway.
I'm just saying. A lot of Marvel things kind of take from this. I want to say Deadpool's one of them. WandaVision is definitely one of them with the Pocket Universe.
Okay.
There are nice nods in current cinema to this movie.
Yeah. I enjoyed it all.
But I wasn't sure how they were going to get out of Hobbs End.
Until they allowed him to leave.
Well, the kid that becomes the old man very quickly says in the child's voice, he won't let me leave.
Right.
that was kind of a loophole, because like it was a made up place that didn't exist until he wrote it.
Pretty much.
But then clearly that other person was brought in and not allowed to leave. So
right.
Was everybody that way? That was my question. Because even Vigo was like, I can't stop doing this. He wrote me this way.
Yeah, they were all like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Styles was like that. That's why she was kissing on John, and she was kissing and rubbing on Kane. It was weird.
Right. And same thing with like Trent. You weren't created until I created you.
Yeah. Like, what do you remember? I don't know.
Well, shit.
Yep. Yeah. And it was kind of a neat turn. I guess it was maybe a little predictable, but it wasn't executed poorly. It was done pretty well for me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Between the writing, the performances, pacing, got a hell of a movie here.
Yeah. Again, I wish it would have been longer. I would have loved to see more of the old ones just tearing shit apart, because they were beautiful creatures. I wish we could have gotten to see more of them.
They could have blown some shit up. Just saying.
Yeah, I suppose it was missing that.
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't necessary, but that's what they could have done for that. They could have created a little more destruction of the town.
Yeah, because I mean, there was a great shot of the hallway in the asylum that was all tore up. Yes. But that was about it. Like, it didn't show a whole lot else tore up other than litter.
Right.
So there could have been and should have been maybe some more blood. Lots of blood. Blood.
Yeah, that was one of my things I wrote down I felt was missing, was a bit more gore going on. Not like the movie like really needed it, but I think for my appreciation of like all things horror and gory, I felt like it could have been a little bit bloodier.
See, I like this where you would see the corrupted or mutated people, and this lady's like hacking off flesh of people and eating it raw, but it was very far and few in between. It was there,
right,
but far and few in between.
Right. Yeah, I think they might have. I don't know. You could look at it as they were just trying to like conserve those particular moments so they'd be a little more impactful and spread out, and doing it that way instead of just constantly throwing the crazy at you like something, say, like Hellraiser would do.
Yes, and the books have a way of turning things on their head. The movie's not so much. This has a really good way of turning itself on its head. So,
yeah.
Where I had something for you. The Hellmouth. I wanted to make this my background and have it move. I thought that was so cool the way that they were showing that.
Could have done it as a GIF.
That, yeah, had I actually had more time and done a better editing software, yeah, it probably would have happened that way. But it was pretty. It was so pretty just because that was a practical effect. But then when Kane goes in front of it, because he is the gate. You don't really realize that at first, but like he is the gate that the old ones come through. And it wasn't cheesy. In fact, it was even better special effects than Deep Rising was.
Oh, God. You're fired.
It was. For 1994, that was really well done. Like, yes.
Deep Rising had better special effects.
This guy looked like Judge Doom getting up. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as, like, Treat Williams... very much not in the scene whatsoever, being blue screened in over something else. It's like digitized in. It was horrible.
We've seen better movies with better effects than that, Kevin. My God. The constant ragging on Deep Rising.
But I love that the inside of the Hellmouth is the book.
That's what, I was going to say, like, the practical effect of that being the pages was outstanding, I thought.
And you get to see all the other characters inside the book that are kind of running around there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
especially with Minnie.
Yeah. One of the old ones was a Pooh Bear.
Oh, bother.
Oh, bother. Um, Another moment that kind of made me go, was the moment where he's in the hotel and the book comes back to him. Someone delivered it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whose nephew this is, but that take could have been done once or twice more for insurance purposes.
Gotcha.
Anyway, yeah, the book keeps coming back to him, and he tries throwing it away. They could have played that out a little bit more. They did it just
Right.
once, I think. And this is what I mean, like the movie could have been a little bit longer. I could have seen more of that carnage, like you were talking about, out in the streets. More of the practical effects, more of the kids terrorizing people.
Right.
There was room for more, but there was so much in this movie that it would have taken forever to actually show it all.
Yeah, that's true. They probably just kept it as concise as they possibly could. So, you can't fault them for that.
No, you really can't. But golly, I guess what I'm complaining about is I like this a lot, and it wasn't long enough for me. I wanted to see more shit.
Nothing wrong with that. I do agree with you, though. I think you could have easily added probably 5 to 7 more minutes. I'd prefer something more like 10 to 12. I think it would have worked very well, especially was fleshing out other scenes and details or giving us a bit more of an extended ending to make it just even more larger in scope. And, that's okay that they didn't. Just, it would have been cool if we had seen that.
Kinda. As that's the part where they kind of leave things up to the viewer's imagination.
Yeah. And that's very much a Carpenter thing. He's done that in several other movies, so it's fine. I'm kind of used to it already from John.
Someone was watching this and then was like, "Hey, that's a good idea for The Sopranos."
I just leave it hanging.
We'll just cut that shit to black.
Yep. And boom. You don't know what happens, but you think you know what happens. But does it really happen? You'll never know. And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Jose. I like to think that Liam Neeson killed that fucking wolf at the end of Wolf Puncher. I mean, The Gray. Like, he went full Wolverine style and just killed the shit out of that fucker. That's how I look at the ending.
Well, me and good old Jack Burton at the end of Big Trouble in Little China, I think he ran over that fucking goofy looking creature trying to take over his truck at the end. That's just my thought. Where's my Big Trouble in Little China Part 2? And don't give me a fucking remake starring The Rock. Don't want that.
No. Like, I love Rock. That's not him. Like, that movie doesn't need Rock.
Yep.
He has his place. Rampage was his place. He made Rampage a better movie.
Still haven't seen that one either.
It's
haven't
fun.
seen that or San Andreas or any of the Fast and the Furious movies beyond Part 2.
San Andreas is a special effects movie. Fun for that. Rampage is a funny movie. That's about it.
Okay. I love those games, but
yes, like how good can you make a game about kaiju destroying shit? It had its moments. It was weird. It was funny. It was bad. It is cheesy. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a good movie. It's just fun. It's not. Rock doesn't need to be Jack Burton. We'll just leave that shit there.
Pretty much. Now, if you were going to put this movie out today, do you think it would still work, or do you think it would actually do a little bit better?
I think it might do better.
I think it would do better as well. I don't know if I'd want a remake of this. I think this movie stands perfectly fine on its own. Just hope everybody else can get a chance to see it, because this is a good one.
Yes,
I really like this.
And then get yourself like a really good copy of it, like you said, because there are copies of it where it's like, it's kind of grainy. You can't tell what that is. And then there's other copies that are just like fantastic, and you can see every beautiful little detail.
Yep. Totally agree with you on that. Probably I would recommend everybody go get that Scream Factory release. It's probably the best version you could get today. Like I said, I got the original copy from Warner Brothers that's completely out of date and probably out of print. And I thought the picture quality was okay, but I would think like the Scream Factory one's just a bit better overall. So I'd probably recommend everybody go that way. We do have Amazon affiliate links in our description down below. If you don't mind, please click on that link, get yourself a copy, or if you're just going Amazon shopping, just go ahead and complete your order going through our link. It kicks us back just a few cents, but it helps support the show on our podcast. So
it helps keep the lights on.
Some of the lights on.
Some of the lights on. Some of my light bulbs are very expensive.
Like this one night over here. Yep.
Over there and that one over there. The garage light right above, which if it's not on, you can't see
the studio. Kayfabe.
Kayfabe. Sorry. Yes. The sin bin. In the studios. But yeah, this was very lush, and I don't know what it would have looked like on VHS or on the early DVD, but
right.
The scene where they're going into Hobbs End and driving through the portal, and Stiles looks down and sees like clouds and lightning beneath her was very lush and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you felt the seizure that she was having. It was neat.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that these days. Everything's so CGI'd or whatever they were trying, but like they did pretty good with the visual effects that they did in this.
They really did. It was more than the movie probably warranted. Like the public didn't know what they were missing with this. They really didn't.
Yeah. But at least it's got a bit of a cult following, and it's absolutely worth checking out. And it's one of John Carpenter's trilogy of the Apocalypse trilogy that he likes to dub. So I think it ends and wraps up very well. Kevin, you got any final thoughts before we say goodbye to everybody?
I do. The last thing I have is the urban legend from the movie. That was kind of like 3 Men and a Baby, where you do see a phantom in the back of the set. There was no car behind them whatsoever, yet there's a phantom BJJ just kind of looming there. And I ran that through a spectrometer that I have here, and I lightened it up a bit.
Oh, no.
And it really wasn't anything more than Ted Danson.
God damn it,
That's
Ted.
all it was.
Such a BJJ.
It wasn't a pussy. It was just Ted Danson.
Yeah, pussified enough. All right. Thank you, Kevin, for that final image for 0 Point Reviews covering John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. Hey, if you like this video, if you like what we do here on 0 Point Reviews, please hit the like button down below. Throw up a comment, share, subscribe. We'd love to have you along as we cover The Thing next week. And then we are jumping into December. We're still working out our final schedule for December, but we'll have that announced shortly. But like I said, we love doing this. We'd love to have you along. We just crossed over 250 subscribers. We'd love to have you along as we get closer to 500. So please hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends. Let's keep that train moving, and we'll see you, Screamers, next time.
I have one last piece of trivia. I so apologize. The young boy, the newspaper boy that John wakes up to and asks where he is, basically, grows up to be one of the most notorious mass murderers of our century. That child grew up to become Darth Vader. Didn't realize that at first. I saw that, learned yesterday when I was going over things that was our young Anakin Skywalker there.
All right.
That's all I had.
Kevin just Vadered on our show, so thank you for tuning in. We'll see you Screamers next time. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at SunsAndShadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.